the Caspian Sea. In October, the Caspian looks uninviting. Its charm at this time of year lies beneath the waves. Oil, in vast quantities. Sumgait, in the Republic of Azerbaijan, is one of the many new towns that have grown up around the Caspian oil industry. Nobody cared much about its image when it was hurriedly built some 35 years ago, and already the town has a careworn look. Most of its factories deal in chemicals, plastics, and other oil-based products. But despite appearances, the first and finest factory of them all is the Lenin Steel Pipe Rolling Mill. The factory produces the steel pipes that take Caspian oil to the big Russian cities of the north. At full production, it employs 9,000 workers. The foundry and the mill are hot and noisy. This is classed as heavy labor. But like Siberian construction gangs or Ukrainian miners, the workers here can earn up to 3 times the national average. Not everyone has a taste for heavy labor. Ragim Magaramov is 42 and on the factory's books as a machine tools supervisor. But what occupies most of his time is his passion for the factory football team.
Ну, завод, как-то. У каждого завода есть не только футбол, но и другие секции. Если не иметь футбольную команду, такого огромного завода, это большое значение. Неужели такой огромный завод не может держать себе команду?
Ragim's passion is practical. He's the team's trainer.
Тренер первым долгом должен команду готовить и психологически, и физически, и тактически, и технически. Должен быть нервы крепкие. Представьте, 1,5 часа напряженной игры, ну, игроки там бегают, пас дают, открывается, а вот тренер страдает 1,5 часа. Смотря, как подойти. 11 человек, еще запасные 6 человек, 17 человек надо подойти. У каждого знать характер игрока. Тренером работать очень трудно. Нервная работа. Серьезно. Сколько лет работы, я знаю. Нервничает, всегда нервничает.
It's with the blessing of the management that Ragim spends so much of his time on the Lenin Pipe Rolling Mill team. The theory is that it's good PR, and if they win, good for morale. So players tend to be looked after by the factory, as well as by their trainer. Sergei, the team's goalkeeper, for example, safely tucked away in the library, is Ragim's most valuable player.
Sergei, первый вратарь. Он достаточно мне уже с первого же года играет. Сергей. Когда Сергей стоит на воротах, значит, я уверен. И защитники тоже уверены. В случае чего Сергей сзади. Есть крепкость, раз ворота крепкие, значит, и защита будет уверенно играть.
But Sergei's arrival was bad news for the veteran goalkeeper Valera. He still works at the factory as a welder, but his ambition is to get back in the side.
Ну, а если второй играл Валерий? Валерий раньше хорошо стоял. Он второй вратарь, он почти 5 лет у меня. Ну, у него нет уверенности, самоуверенности. Когда выходит на мяч, раз теряется. Или же 1 на 1 выходит, раз теряется, где занимать место, в каком месте занимать. Или же он не умеет командовать над защитой. Первый долго вратарь должен защитить, над защитой командовать.
Valera is only a substitute when Polad at the factory team play the Aluminium Works team in the first of 3 matches to decide the town championship. Polad are in red. With Polad 3-0 up, Ragim can afford to make a tactical substitution in the goal mouth. Valera immediately sees this as an opportunity to prove himself. But in fact, Ragim merely wants to rest Sergei for the more important matches ahead. At the next break in play, Sergei comes off and Valera can seize the opportunity with both hands. Drama, but no one to watch it. Football is not exactly a traditional Azerbaijani sport. It arrived, like the steelworks itself, by order from Moscow. When Stalin pushed through his crash program of industrialization in the 30s, the southern republics of the Soviet Union offered fertile ground for development. Builders and planners from the north converged on Azerbaijan's empty spaces in an effort to convert a largely agricultural nation into an industrialized giant. But the emphasis was on quantity rather than quality. In this now aging factory, the pipe-making methods are still crude. These red-hot steel rods are turned into pipes by simply punching a hole through the center with sheer brute force. And productivity is low compared with Western plants. But the planners did not just create factories, they created societies to go with them. And in a workers' society, a factory is not simply a place to work. When a Western fad threatens to become irresistible, the Soviet system simply absorbs it. Aerobics have now become a regular feature at the factory sports club. For the footballers, there are worse reasons for having to wait to start their twice-weekly training session.
You'll never care if someone's rich or poor. Singapore, for everybody you're an open door. You make the people like each other. You are everybody's mother. There's adventure and beauty and hope and so much more.
Но если насчет полузащиты, центральной полузащиты, Айдена Ибишева, я могу ответить. У него и удар сильный, и техника у него хорошая, и пасы точные.
There's no unemployment in the Soviet Union, and Aiden's job is to blow the train's whistle as it trundles round the factory.
И от нападающего Вилли Тайгунова. Бег хороший. Техника есть. И еще он корпусом хорошо играет. Закрывает мяча и идет вперед. И от борьбы не боится.
Willie also has light duties. No one gets paid for playing factory football. Their reward is less work and time off for training and matches.
Еще у меня есть левый край полузащиты Фахрат, художник Амрахов. Он левша сам. Я могу сказать, что у него удар вообще очень сильный. Из любого положения и способен он забить гол.
As factory artist, Farhad's job is to design the posters that exhort the workers to greater efforts. His models are a mixed bunch. As yet, he's not been commissioned to do a poster to exhort the team.
Да, остальные тоже так играют, да. Но этот футбол коллективная игра. Если один возьмет на себя игру, эта игра не получится. Это коллективная игра. Раз один человек вышел, на игру, значит, они должны 11 человек играть полностью. И так каждый на себя возьмет игру, это не считается. Çok ödümüze. İnter, hadi biraz yavaş aç, çaktırabilirler. Yavaş aç, interval olsun. Hiç olmazsa 1 metre arada interval olsun. 1 metre. Давай. Tamam. Hadi yavaş yavaş. Hadi sağ ol. 1 metre интервал götürür. Али, как капитан говорит, он молодец. Он и ведет команду со собой. Во-первых, капитан должен быть примерным. И сам играл, и другим пример показал. Ну, и Алик такой же капитан. Я доволен Аликом. Он играет до конца. То, что у него есть, он отдает вовремя игру. Он спокойнее еще желал бы таких игроков побольше, как Алик.
Alec is a keen fan of international football. Diplomatically, he supports France in the World Cup and, until they were banned, Liverpool in the European. Football is encouraged all over the Soviet Union, as the government sees it as something which all its different nationalities can share, a sort of Soviet team spirit, something that Ragim, on his more modest canvas, is always struggling to instill.
В команде коллективной игры нет. По отдельности игроки берут игру на себя. Много держат мяч у себя. Собираться недели 2-3 раза, беседовать с ними. Общий и по отдельности. Каждому игроку сказать свою ошибку. Вот, брат, вот в это время ты ошибся. И в это время ты задержал мяч. Этот момент ты должен позвать не давал. Вот так и постепенно каждому подойти и найти с ними общего языка.
Teamwork will be vital if Polad, the Steelworks team, are to win the Sumgait Town Championship. Amongst the factories in the town's bleak industrial landscape is the synthetic rubber factory, whose team, Caspi, Polad have never beaten. We weren't allowed inside the factory, as one part of it does secret military work. It makes rubber gloves for astronauts. But at Ragim's Sunday practice session, the Caspi trainer came to see us and to spy on the Polad players. It's no social call. Even at this level, a clever trainer will try and poach his rival's best players by offering an attractive job at his own factory.
Сергея сколько пригласили, он никуда не пойдет. Так что единственный вратарь в городе. Никакой тренер не согласен, чтобы свою воспитанную отдал кому-нибудь. И хотя пригласили, но они отказались. Это так-то я не беспокоюсь, потому что я верю своим футболистам, ребятам, что они никуда не пойдут. Что за это нет.
Like many new towns, Sumgait has no strong sense of community. The improvised rooftop aerials show what most of its inhabitants do most of the time. The truth is, there's not much reason for going out. Although there have been communities on the banks of the Caspian for centuries, this one is the product of a centralized vision, not local evolution. It was a vision for industry rather than people. Willie, the team's youngest striker, lives with his family in one of the walk-up blocks. The common parts of the building are drab and neglected, But the apartments in a town like this are much larger than in the big cities like Moscow. Willie hasn't been playing too well, but expects little sympathy at home. His family are not great football fans, despite Ragim's conviction that they should be.
Возьмите жену, и она тоже, когда проигрывает, приходишь домой, спрашивает, как это результат, говоришь, проигрывали. Все, настроение падает. У жены, у тебя, когда уже выиграет, приходишь домой, да, спрашивают, ну как выиграли, а уже праздник, да, вот. Я думаю, что у всех жена футболиста, спортсмена болеет за свою команду.
Зина.
Да? Я представляю себе, какие вы испытали чувства, когда в вашем хозяйстве было сказано в докладе.
Willie's family have more pressing concerns. The apartment may have 7 rooms, but 8 people already live here, and 2 of them, Willie's brother and his wife, have just had their first baby, making it 9. That doesn't stop an invasion by his footballing friends. Perhaps rashly, Willie has been boasting about his new but second-hand tape recorder. They want to inspect it.
Bir sana karam diye mandalımsın. Satın biraz uzak olsun. Hiç istemiyorum. Kim?
Bak.
Bak olsun daha sonra da olur.
Aşık paran vardı sen, yapacağın ne kadar aşık paran var sen, bırak. Bırak. Otur oradan, çık babamla otur.
Kim ben?
Yok, verin yerimi, diren bir şeyden aşıkla bırak bak.
Ne istemiyorum.
When all else fails, as the tape recorder clearly has, there's always football to fall back on.
İkinci de vurdu.
Öyle iki
Ben
tane var.
o ikinci özüm de vurabilirdim. Prosto istemiyorum. Fili açıldı.
Asıl bayrağı neye kaydı?
Spokonu verdim ona da.
O da sazı oynadı, 80 tane fazla olsa 2 tane verdi. O da vuruşun oldu, verdi, yoksa vermeyeceğini.
Axırıncısız oynadı Adala. Onun için.
Sonra o birinci tayımdaki belə kesin ya, onu şey edeyim sen. Onu da sen bakmalıydın, atmalıydın.
Onda başışdan da değməsə də o
Sen
pas.
sana çıkıyor.
O da var, düzdür. Başlasana derler, gelir başın sarasana.
Yaxşı indi.
The stadium in Sumgait is on a rather grander scale than the team and its supporters merit. That's what often happens when a scheme gets official encouragement, as football did. But they do share it with all the town's other sports clubs. Polad have 1 game to go before the final needle match against Caspi.
Nadir gelir Aydın'ın yerine, sentre. Aydın gelir pravo kray. Meyradır bırakırsan qabağa, özün durursan levo kray.
Oldu işte.
Oldu ha, bak. Meyradır...
Senin yerine kim gelir Fazil'in?
Fazil'in yerine gelir Aydın. Aydın.
Nadir olmuş.
Aydın yeri, gelir Nadir, sentre. Şeyi bıraksan qabağa. Oldu. Davay. Aydın'ı bırak pravo kray.
To be in with a good chance of the championship, they need first to beat the organic synthesis plant in the pouring rain. Not surprisingly, the stands aren't packed.
Nadir, gir sentre Aydın'ı bırak pravo kraya. Aydın gel pravo kraya, Aydın. Neredesin?
The slippery surface seems to suit the organic synthesists better. And just before half-time, disaster for Polad, they score.
Я сам до этого играл и знаю, как подойти ребятам, футболистам. Не все одинакового характера футболисты.
Ragim's cool psychological approach seems gradually to desert him in the dressing room at half-time.
Bir tane 7 topu olur ne kadar oldu işte. Kalem olmayan olsa gelem ha kalem olmayan var. Fazla canı da olur zaten. Bunu 200 metre o tarafa vur bunu o tarafa. Böyle. Güzel. Başka stop procent каждый бывает это.
Arayam vurdum da oldu. Ben o topu saklasaydım utanırım. O böyle çok yani. Ne oldu öyle vurdum da. Buyurun tabii.
3 tane var bundan beri sen şey etsin. Ben olsun şey etsin. Bir herkesin sende birinde kalsın. Herkesin olur şey etsin. Bak burada ahir zamanı doğru kalır. Buna atıyor. Bir ülkenin de var.
Bir daha top çıkardı gol vursundan mübareden koysun da var o.
Hemen yeni ahbarı saldı. Ya yeni top geldi. Meri.
Sen ne facilesi? Harda sen leşini öldür.
They argue in a curious mixture of tongues. Their native Azerbaijani, which is rather like Turkish, Russian, and the occasional English word for a soccer term that the other languages can't cope with.
Gördün top itirildi. Top itirildi. Offside'da kalmış. Kışkırırsan sen stüdyosu kakoy offside'da.
Birine yerin değişin de biri gezin sakarsan gel soğur. Biri soğursan da.
Hadi çalışıp.
Topu özünde sakarsan topu vursa onun sözüne. Yaşım vursa onu.
Sakla satırsın.
Şeyde sürüşkene kaçtım saklamışsın da şöyle atmıştım ortasına. Orada da sıkıntı yok.
Oynaman lazım.
Çok yaxşı.
Sonra şeyde. Yaşlılar yoktur.
Atakava çevirdim.
Açın ben Spino'yu da yani. Babamı da atırsın. Bir daha pada çok az. Hamısı bıraktı. Hamısı bıraktı. Bir daha temiz yok.
Bir şey yoktu da ona göre.
Все, на перехват özde olacak.
Ha, şimdi daşım gelir.
Bir tane şuna başa getirir kaydırır geri de. Dövayla çıkıyor. Gel. Yardım yaxşı. Şuna başa getirir.
In the second half, the rain gets heavier, the light gets gloomier, and Polad's luck seems to have deserted them altogether. The match ends in virtual darkness. The floodlights were damaged in an earlier storm and haven't yet been repaired. Polad have lost by that single goal. Now they must beat Caspi in 3 days' time to stay in the competition. The pride of the factory is at stake. While most of the industrialized world faces the problem of high unemployment, the Soviet Union has a shortage of labor, especially in industries as dirty and noisy as steel, and in towns as unglamorous as Sumgait. In a society where there is not a great deal to buy, extra pay is no great incentive. The management tries to attract skilled workers here with special perks: bigger flats, cheap package holidays, better leisure facilities. Theoretically, these are fixed up by the trades unions, which are described as independent organizations. In fact, they're much more closely linked with the management than their Western counterparts, and most of their funds come from the factory's own budget. An example of what they do provide. When the heat and pressure of work get too much, the workers can retreat to the relaxation room. Here, they can get away from it all by unwinding to the sound of muzak and contemplating the beauties of nature. Russian nature, that is, not Azerbaijani. It looks and feels about as welcoming as a dentist's waiting room, and it's just about as popular. We saw no sign that anyone ever used it, but it does keep 6 people fully employed on a shift basis should the workers ever change their minds. What they do use is the factory's subsidized canteen. A 3-course meal here costs about 60 pence. Alcohol is strictly forbidden. Although constitutionally possible, strikes in the USSR are almost unheard of. The workers are taught that the factory belongs to them, and that strikes are a weapon of a class war that the Soviet proletariat won long ago. The factory has become the centre of their social life, and workers tend to spend most of their time together. It's not just the footballers, there are sports clubs for all types, and palaces of culture and cinemas attached to each factory. Workers even go on holiday together, men with men and women with women. To go on holiday with your family is so unusual as to be called a wild holiday. This week, Aidan, the fullback, is on late shift. His hobby is collecting Western rock music, not easy in Azerbaijan. But all Soviet shops must fulfill their monthly sales plan, and that means they often put something particularly attractive for sale at the end of the month. Today is the 31st of October, so there's a chance that some of the more sought-after records will appear in Aidan's local department store. Demand is high for Western music. In Moscow, there's a brisk trade in bootleg tapes and records begged or bought from Western visitors. Not much chance of that in Sumgait. The Western bands on sale here are re-recorded officially under license and sold under the label of the state recording company Melodia. The sounds and faces are familiar, even if the sleeves aren't. Aidan is in luck and manages to find the latest Leo Sayer album. Time off work is one of the perks of playing for the factory team. But for the final match against Caspi, they need no extra motivation.
Ну, значит, выигрывать, значит, доказать, что мы можем любого команду выиграть. Если Каспи мы выиграем, значит, мы добились своего.
Caspi are short on talk, but long on fitness.
Откровенно говоря, что они сильная команда. Очень. Они опытные еще ребята потом. У них и техника хорошая, и коллективная игра есть. Между нами всегда игра была очень азартная. Очень азартная.
Football may be foreign, but it is popular enough for enterprising Azerbaijanis to have found a loophole in Soviet law that enables them to run an unofficial pools system. Whilst the organisers pocket 15% for themselves, a pools winner in Sumgait can easily win £3,000. But for all that, the town doesn't seem to share Ragim's sense of occasion. Only a couple of hundred spectators have turned up. Polad, this time in yellow, look on good form. But Caspi's defenders are taking no prisoners. Only 10 minutes gone, but already Ragim has a problem. His best player, Nadi, is late. And when Nadi does turn up, after a row with his wife, he's forgotten his boots. None of the substitutes seem to have his size. An extra pair of socks solves the problem. He can get away with boots that are too big for him. But for every substitute that goes on, someone has to come off, often very reluctantly. On the field, Polad continue to press, and Caspi's defence is ruthless. A free kick. The ball rebounds off the defensive wall, and Ragim's team scores. Now, an action replay from the bench. One 0 up, and the trainer's first thought is to sit on his lead. He sends on his tallest player to bolster the defence. Half-time. Despite the score, tempers are frayed, emotions running high.
Spokojnie, sakin dincelim yukarıda. Sakin, spokojnie. Görsen 2-3 tane Kamil istiri tutmağa malades. Öyle ne tabi, özür diye ki şey uşaklar tavsiyor ki şey oynamasın. Bizim uşaklar bilmez, bağırdılar. Kimin olur sen?
For one player, it's too much. Nadi's problems at home, his late arrival, criticism on the pitch, the size of his boots, he's overcome by the occasion. In the second half, Kaspi attack. A good thing that the reliable Sergei hadn't been tempted by a job at the synthetic rubber plant. Valera has changed back into civvies. He knows when he's beaten, even if his team are winning. Kaspi's best chance comes midway through the second half. Alec, the captain, has an unorthodox but effective defence.
Farad, надо своевременно подать. Farad, опаздываешь пасами, опаздываешь.
Then Polad attack again. The ball goes to Nadi, the late arrival who's too small for his boots. In the last few minutes, Kaspi's game falls apart, and Polad score twice in a minute to win 4-0.
Gelin Zendire, Zendire girin. Girin Zendire. Nadir gelmeyin. Zendire girin, Zendire'den beri gel.
For the first time in Sumgait's footballing history, synthetic rubber has yielded to steel.
Is this the end of the game? And will you put out the flame and fly away? Don't fly away. Now let's find out who's to blame and start all over again. Don't fly away. Don't fly away. And if I walk out again, is it true that the pain will fly away? Fly away. Fly away. Talking, but it don't mean a single word is said. Fly away. So easily keep falling that you climb aboard the plane. And it's the end of the game with only fortune to blame.
Ragim's triumph is, however, short-lived. 3 days later, Kaspi lost again to the organic synthesists who'd beaten Polad earlier in the week. With that, the synthesists clinched the town championship, leaving Ragim in that immortal Azerbaijani phrase, "Khasta tuti kimi," as sick as a parrot.